Am I the a-hole for refusing to help my coworker after she refused to help me when I was sick? I am 34 years old, and last week I caught a brutal case of the flu right before a major public holiday. It was the kind of sick where your entire body aches, your fever spikes, and you completely lose your voice. I was in an incredible amount of pain and could barely swallow, let alone speak. I was genuinely looking forward to the long weekend just to stay in bed, take my medication, and rest. But on the very first morning of the holiday, my phone started buzzing. It was my boss. There was an absolute emergency with a massive client, and a huge task needed to be finished and submitted within 24 hours. Both of our upper managers were completely out of town on vacation, which left only two people available to handle the crisis, myself and my coworker, whom I will call Clara. This specific project is an intense, heavy workload that is strictly designed to be a two-person job. There is simply too much data for one person to process alone, especially someone who can barely sit upright. Since I had no voice to make a phone call, I sent a desperate text message to Clara. I explained that I was severely ill, heavily medicated, and that our boss needed us to handle this client emergency together right away. A few minutes later, my phone chimed. Clara's response was cold and completely shocking. She texted me back saying, "Well, you shouldn't have answered the boss's call on a holiday," followed by a text that basically said, "Good luck with that. She didn't offer a single hand to help." I was stunned. With no other choice, I spent the entire holiday wrapped in blankets, shivering from chills, and forcing myself to type out the massive project completely alone. It took everything out of me, but I got it done. The next morning, we had an emergency Zoom meeting to present the work to the client. Because my throat was so damaged, I literally could not speak. My boss noticed this immediately and publicly asked Clara to step in, take my notes, and present the slides for me so I could rest my throat. Clara immediately turned off her camera, ignored my direct messages, and told the boss she couldn't help because she didn't write the report, even though managing this client was a joint responsibility we both share. She even claimed she was out of town, but her social media status showed she was sitting right at home in her living room. I had to scramble and beg an outside freelancer to jump onto the call just to help me survive the presentation. I was completely hurt and exhausted, but the real twist happened yesterday morning when the tables turned.